Welcome to the Elite BSC podcast, where our entire focus is helping commercial janitorial contractors succeed. You want a growing company, a thriving team, and healthy profits, and we are here to help. My name is Jordan Tong. I'm the founder of Elite BSC, a company dedicated to helping janitorial companies grow and thrive. I also serve as CEO and one of the owners of France Building Services. France is a janitorial company employing nearly 600 people. Since 2007, we grew from 1.5 million to more than 20 million in annual revenue and built what I think is one of the best teams in the world. The goal of Elite BSC and this podcast is to give owners in the industry a vision of where their company can be and the information and tools to get there. I want to share what I have learned over the years to make this a reality for you. Hey, cleaning contractors, and well, I guess just anybody and everybody that might have stumbled across this podcast. Welcome to the Elite BSC podcast. Though I can't really imagine anyone that's not in the cleaning industry would be listening to this podcast, but you never know. It's a weird world. So in this episode, I want to talk about something. I wrote an article. It's been many years ago. And the title of the article, the blog, is called Fishing Wisdom for Cleaning Contractors. Don't Leave Fish to Find Fish. And so it's probably back in 2018 that I took a trip to Michigan, and we stayed pretty close to a town called Ludington there in Michigan. It's a really cool little town, and we were staying just a little ways away from there. And I chartered a boat and went salmon fishing with a captain and took my boys and my dad. And we actually chartered two different boats because there were so many of us that were wanting to go. And the guy that was the captain on my boat was a former Coast Guard guy. And we left the dock around 5 a.m. It was still dark. Sun was just starting to get a little bit of light coming in. And by 6 o'clock, we probably were out. Probably took us 30 minutes to get to where we were going to go on the water and on Lake Michigan. And we were probably on fish by 6 o'clock. So these are big freshwater salmon, ton of fun to catch. And one of the things, but here's what's interesting in that particular trip, after about an hour, all of a sudden, the bite slowed down, and we stopped catching fish. It's like we caught them right there in the first hour, and then we stopped catching them. And so I remember talking to him. I was asking him about his strategy and what he's doing, and asked him about changing locations. And something he said is, hey, listen, here's the number one rule in fishing. Don't leave fish to find fish. And the idea, like, hey, there's something good here. Now, you're not getting out of it what you want, but it's good here. And you're going to risk going somewhere else that's not as good and leaving behind what is good. And I learned this lesson in another little fishing trip that I had. I fished in a tournament. It was actually a really big tournament that was like an MLF tournament, if you're a bass fisherman. And there was one close by, and so it's one of those that, if you do really well in several of these tournaments, you can progress and compete in some of the big national tournaments. Anyway, so I signed up and I competed, and you get paired up with somebody. And so the guy that I was paired up with had fished a lot of tournaments in the past. And we went to is my home lake that I'd fished a lot. And we went to a particular part of the lake that he felt confident in. And the water, it was flooding. The water was high a bit. And we caught a couple fish right away. And we basically sat in this spot for probably 3 hours that morning, which drives me crazy. Like I'm wanting to move around and that sort of thing. But really his strategy helped me. I actually did really well in that tournament. I finished ninth out of about 200 different anglers in my division. And part of that was because I had to learn this same lesson there. Like we had found fish and we stayed there and just persistently kept going about our strategy. And every so often we'd hook up and put another fish in the boat. So let me think, well, this is odd for a cleaning podcast. Here's where I want to go with that is I think there's some truth here when it comes to our cleaning businesses. And in particular, one of my things that I most enjoy talking about is sales and marketing in our industry. So just figuring out how to do that, the necessity of it, and I do think it's a necessity for small companies to be growing. And it's fun and it's easy rewards, when you're able to land an account. And so there's a lot of attention there. There's much less attention to retaining and even extracting more profitability out of your existing customers. And so often we can make a mistake as business owners of neglecting our own fields in search of greener pastures. And statistics show, and I don't know how accurate these are, okay, but I see this over and over and over, is that it's much cheaper to keep customers than to acquire them, to acquire new ones. So Harvard Business Review put out some information on this, and they said that getting new customers can be between 5 and 25 times more expensive than keeping existing ones. It's probably a little bit on the lower end in our industry, but still, it's significant. It is significant. And additionally, increasing customer retention by just 5% can boost profits by as much as 25%. It's probably not quite as true in our industry, but it's certainly, there is a lot of truth to that, because there's things, when you're able to keep somebody, there's this smoothness and consistency and ease to your ability to make money that is not there with brand new customers or chasing new customers. So let's get real practical here and just ask the question, how can you fish in the waters that you're already in? So how can you grow as an organization with your existing customer base without feeling the need to go out and get more business? I think you should be going and targeting new business. That should be part of the strategy. But you should hunker down in the waters that you already got fish in and keep fishing. And I think there's a few things. I want to go through 4 possible things you could do to think about with regard to your existing customers, and see if those help increase profitability and really strengthen the relationship too, because hopefully you're serving them in what you're doing here. So the first one is price increases, right? This one makes some people get really tense. I'm somebody that is not a big fan of confrontation, and so price increases are often a little bit of a dread to me. I'm like, oh gosh, I hate to have to ask this guy for more money, and sometimes I get beat up here because I'm the guy that gives stuff away for free, and that's fine. We should charge him less. He needs the help. So, but I think price increases are helpful, and here's one thing that I've learned over the years, and this is particularly watching our company president and our ops team go about getting price increases, is that most customers expect them. The cost of living does increase. The price of goods does increase. I mean, we can blame inflation or, whatever else for this. But prices do increase over time. I mean, we see this internally. Just think about, this is probably true of everyone in the country. Post-COVID, wages have gone up. Availability of labor has gone down, and things are more expensive. And so price increases are expected. My encouragement would be that these price increases be small, but be, somewhat frequent. So I don't mean maybe there's an annual increase or a biannual increase. Ideally, if you can work these into your contracts, all the better. But these go straight to the bottom line. I mean, it is whatever you get on a price increase goes right to the bottom line. So they're a big deal. $1,000 price increase is like landing, a $6,000 job. I mean, it's straight profit. So number 2, the second one, so the first one, price increases. Second one, increasing scope of services. So is there the possibility of adding to the daily routine of work you currently perform? Maybe a day porter or cleaning new areas that are currently not cleaned, or maybe they have other buildings that you don't currently service, or another locations in town that you don't take care of. There's often room for expansion just with your core services within existing customers. And sometimes it's just helpful. Some of your smaller clients, you're not going to see as much of this, and so you're not going to, this is probably, you can ask and inquire about it, and there's probably not going to be a lot. But some of your bigger customers, let's say you're working for a hospital system or a large manufacturing plant or a corporate campus, there's lots of possibilities of expanding scopes of work in those places. So that's number 2. Number 3 is, again, going to be kind of similar to number 2, and it's project work. So depending on your company and what sort of project work that you do or are willing to do or are good at, there's lots of different kinds of things you could do for your existing customers. So, perhaps it's floor work. This is a really common one in our industry, is that maybe it's buffing floors, maybe it's stripping and waxing floors, maybe it's scrubbing ceramic tile, something like that. Maybe it's window cleaning, maybe it's spring cleaning, or I know some companies that, and we have done some of this in the past, is painting, pressure washing. You could go on down the list of a variety of services, recycle programs. There's just a lot of different things that really you think about. What are the things that we could do that sort of put under our umbrella that we manage? We manage a lot of labor-intensive tasks. And so this is great, and project work is typically work that is very profitable. And, we're talking 50, 60% margin stuff a lot of times. So that's number 3. The last one is referrals. So I don't think we should overlook, I don't think referrals get talked about enough in our industry. And part of that is, I think, because there's a limited client pool for each of us that we're going after, and there's often not a lot of overlap in relationships. So, in a lot of the small to mid-sized towns that I operate in, there's not a lot of, there's not like a facility manager organization or anything. So, but that being said, I think referrals can sometimes be overlooked, though. And I do think it would be helpful if you get referred to another facility, but perhaps more helpful is if you can get something in writing from your existing customers. I mean, this is super powerful. So if you can get them on their letterhead to say a few nice things about your organization and your service and how it has helped them, and then get them to sign that, and let's say it has a date on it, you can use that thing for a couple of years. And that can be really powerful, particularly if it's a client that a lot of people know about and a lot of people have, seen. It's got the name recognition that maybe you're looking for. So, these are 4 things you can do to sort of, plow the fields that you already have, to work to improve your pastures currently, right? To catch more fish in the waters that you're already fishing in. Not that you shouldn't go after new stuff, because you should. I think it's really important. And a lot of my episodes on this podcast will be talking about that. But don't neglect what you already have right in front of you. Often that can be a source of loss that we don't realize. So I hope this is helpful. If there's anything that we can do to help, you can always reach out to us. My email address is jordan@elitebsc.com. You can go to elitebsc.com. You can join our mastermind group. We've got like 150 companies in there. It's awesome. It's so awesome. So a lot of questions being answered there. Stuff talked about. So anyway, I hope that if nothing else, the fishing stories were interesting, and go out and take care of your existing customers and see what happens. So we'll see you next time. If you found the information in this podcast helpful, please like and subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you're using. If you would like more resources or help to grow your cleaning company, head over to elitebsc.com. We have loads of articles, videos, free tools, coaching options, and a lot more. If your company is greater than $500K in revenue and you want to take your learning experience to the next level, check out our mastermind group. You can learn more about that at elitebsc.com/mastermind.